I spent about 2 weeks up on the Hard, and for hauling out and the 2 weeks in the marina, I'd paid about $400. So I was happy to be able to leave the paying grounds. My rig hadn't arrived yet, so I still had to wait for that to come. But Tom had been so great to offer me to come back down to Cayo Quemado and put my boat on his dock for free. So I went back down there and put Karl on the side of his loft and started to transform Karl a little bit more. I had painted Karl underneath the water in the marina and everything below my wooden rail on the side. So next thing I had to do was to paint the area above the rail and also to chip off all the brittle paint from the deck to prepare for the non-skid area. The first thing to change on the rigging would be the lower shrouds, and because I also had to paint the chain plates, those were the first 4 wires that I had to take off. So I unscrewed the turnbuckles and tried to take the pins out of the chain plates, which wasn't quite so easy because they're a little bit corroded, so they're quite hard to hammer out there. So again, I had to go through the game of taking the paint off, sanding it, acetoning it, putting the etch primer, the primer, which is this green. It's like a military green primer, and then when I had Karl all painted up with the primer, he actually looked a funky camouflage sea cow. It was pretty funny. Well, then the same thing. You know, overpaint the primer white and then paint the whole thing white and then sand, then wet sand and then put the last layer on. Once I'd finished the paint job on the side and prepared the upper deck to be ready to put the non-skid on, I finally got the call that my rigging had arrived in Fronteras in Rio Dulce. So we took the pink launcher and we went over there and went to the bus station, the Litegua bus station, which is where the mail arrives usually. And we went there to pick up this huge wooden box that Chris from C.C Rigging had sent me from San Diego. was a really exciting moment, and I was so happy to finally have all those little bits and pieces in my hand. And it was like Christmas and birthday all together to open up that huge box and see what's in there. And apart from my rigging, Chris had also put me some little goodies in there, like some Gorilla Tape and some Lanaco and, you know, these like some rigging tape and like some little bits and pieces that I could use for Karl. And also I'd gotten a little package from No and Yo, which is a clothes company in California, which I work as a brand ambassador for. So I'd gotten some new t-shirts and a really beautiful hoodie, and that was great because I was getting a little bit bored of my wardrobe, and now I have lots of nice stuff to wear again. The loft where Tom works is really beautiful to work in because it's all open, so it's like really airy, and he's got tons of tools there that I could use. And behind the loft he has his little house where he lives, which is also like really open and breezy. The time that I spent on Tom's dock was really precious for me. Not only because I could stay there for free and because I could ask him like holding his belly about rigging and sail making, but also because it gave my life some form of daily routine that I haven't had for a while. I got up every day around 6, and then Victoria would paddle over the breakfast, and Tom and me would have breakfast together and talk about what we're going to do throughout the day, and then starting working at around 7:30. It was just amazing because it gave me so much energy to work beside someone else, even though we weren't like working together. Sometimes Tom helped me, but he would just work in his shop, I would work on my boat, and I had the feeling I was full of energy and I could get so much stuff done. Usually we'd have a little break for a quick lunch, and then I'd have a small nap in the hammock because it was just so hot during noon and I had to take a little break from work. It's just with the thread. And once the paint was dry, it was time to put in the new lower shrouds. That was actually no problem at all. It was pretty straightforward, just putting the new shrouds in and then putting them into the turnbuckles. Put a bit of Lanaco onto the threads of the new swaged bits on the end of each shroud, and then just put them into the turnbuckles until they're tight. And then I think we put like a 15% load onto the shrouds. You turn them like you turn them pairwise, always like 2 turns. And then at the end, when you have the tension that you want, you have to look up the mast and see if it's actually straight, which I found the most difficult part in the whole process. Now what was left to do was to change the furlough, the backstays, and the upper shrouds, and to paint the non-skid. But more about that next week.